Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Leon County Board of County Commission meeting. It is Tuesday, November 14th. It's a little after 3. I apologize for starting this a little late. I know Commissioner Jackson is calling in. Commissioner Jackson, can you hear us okay?
Hello there, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I tell you what, if you want to speak on a particular issue, could you just text the administrator and let him know if you cannot get our attention via the microphone? But we certainly appreciate you making we appreciate you making the extra effort to participate, and I believe Commissioner Deloge will be calling in shortly as well. But we do have a quorum. I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Commissioner Dozier for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am very happy to welcome Rabbi Jack Romberg from Temple Israel with us today for the invocation.
So those of you who maybe don't know how I do opening prayers, I like to base it on the weekly biblical reading. And in our congregation, Jewish congregations, this week is the story of Jacob and Esau. Very easy to be critical of either Jacob or Esau in this. Jacob, of course, buys the inheritance from Esau for a plate of lentil stew. He then fools his father into blessing him by dressing up as Esau. Isaac at that point is blind. Easy to criticize about this, but it's important to note, and commentators do note, that both Jacob and Esau are really focused not on the material acquiring of the inheritance, but on really wanting to get their father's blessing. And so Jacob does, and of course it causes a problem. And it takes Jacob and Esau a lifetime to learn what a blessing really is. What is a blessing? A blessing is hoping for others exactly what you hope for yourself. And so we pray that those of us who are committed to serving a community recognize our role in providing blessing for that community. And that role is to work for the community at large, for the things that we feel are important for ourselves. And that we realize that if we are successful at providing those things for the community, at pushing those things forward for our community, that in fact we will then attain blessings for ourselves. May everyone be healthy. May everybody be productive. We thank God for everybody's presence. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Rabbi Romberg. Certainly do appreciate the invocation today. I'd now like to recognize Commissioner Mary Ann Lindley for a proclamation. Commissioner Lindley, it's good to see you.
Glad I'm here. Thank you very much. I'm here today with Twyla Sketchley. Twyla is an attorney. We worked together as members of the Florida Bar Grievance Committee for the Second Judicial Circuit for a few years and met at that time. And she is now president of the Florida Academy of Elder Law Attorneys here in the state of Florida. So what I'm reading today is our proclamation for Family Caregivers Awareness Month. And this is something that I think probably every family here and every family who might be watching us on television tonight is familiar with, which is the loving labor of caregiving. So Twyla, this is our proclamation. Whereas across our country, millions of family members, neighbors, and friends provide care and support for their loved ones during times of need with profound compassion and selflessness. And whereas over 90 million Americans today are family caregivers, and a large number are finding themselves providing care 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Whereas although caregiving can be a rewarding experience, it is not without consequences, and it can lead to stress, poor health, and caregiver burnout. And whereas 6 out of 10 family caregivers juggle everyday life, preparing children for school, managing household responsibilities, working full or part-time in addition to their caregiving responsibilities at home. Family mealtime and family time and meal times are critical to ensuring that caregivers and family members get proper nutrition and rest for maintaining the strength, energy, stamina, and positive attitude that they need. So protecting the family caregiver's own health strengthens the family relationships, prevents burnout, and can enable a care recipient to stay at home up to 3 times longer. Whereas with the responsibility of family caregivers growing every year, it is essential to encourage these heroes to take some time for respite so they can continue their mission of providing loving care. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Leon County, Florida, proclaims November 2017 Family Caregivers Awareness Month, and we honor the tireless compassion of caregivers who heal, comfort, and support our injured, our elders, our people with disabilities. This is dated the 14th day of November 2017. It is signed by each of our commissioners and our county administrator, Vince Long. And Twyla, if you would like to say a few words, I'd be honored to give this to you.
Thank you so much. As an elder law attorney, as many of my colleagues throughout the state do every day, we actually help these heroes keep our elders and our individuals with disabilities out of facilities, out of nursing homes. And during this month, we like our communities to recognize how important this is from an economic point of view to communities, to making sure that the elders and persons with disabilities in our community are autonomous and independent as possible. Every one of us here and in our community can help these folks by doing little things every day, not just this month, to help. You can call and ask if they need somebody to run an errand or bring them groceries. One of my favorite things to do is put together a meal, everything, including the paper plates, so that when the caregiver is done, it all goes in the trash and they don't have additional cleanup. So we are encouraging everybody in the state this month to do one thing for the caregiver in their family. And we appreciate you recognizing the sacrifices that so many of our family and friends make in caregiving every year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you like a picture?
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We are on the consent agenda item. Have any items been pulled from the consent agenda, Mr. Administrator?
Mr. Chairman, no items have been pulled.
Excellent. Commissioner Proctor makes a motion for the consent agenda item, seconded by Commissioner Dozier. Seeing no commissioners in queue to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, passes 6-0. We are on citizens to be heard on non-agenda items. Mr. Administrator, do we have any speakers?
We do not.
We have no speakers. We're on general business. Item number 12. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, one note on the general business agenda, because I note that we, in case there are citizens who are here for that item, and I know we have a couple speaker cards in, but item 15, text amendment has been withdrawn by the applicant and will be rescheduled at such time that it is requested by the applicant. Other than that, that's just a note. Again, I do note that the speakers that put in cards on that item have cards also in on 14, so just a general announcement there. But the first item, item 12, Commissioners, is an item that seeks your consideration of a voluntary annexation proposal to annex property on Thomasville Road. Staff recommendation upon the analysis of the voluntary annexation is to not object to the proposed voluntary annexation.
Second.
Staff recommendation has been properly moved by the Vice Chair and seconded by Commissioner Proctor. Seeing no commissioners in queue to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, passes 6-0. Mr. Administrator, item number 13.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this item seeks your approval to award a bid to Mainline Information Systems for the compute storage environment replacement. This item was properly budgeted and competitively bid. Staff recommends awarding the bid to the highest ranked firm by the evaluation committee, represented here tonight by Pat Curtis, who can answer any questions you might have.
Commissioner Proctor, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious as to what all of this means, storage. I know I have a storage unit, and I think I have one. It might have been sold. But I had a storage unit, and I kind of can itemize the things, and I can see them and eyeball them. For this amount of money, what do we get for storing what is being proposed here? I don't understand this kind of storage bill.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure, Mr. Administrator.
To address
Curtis.
Commissioner Proctor's question, I'd like to ask Pat to field that one.
Okay. Good afternoon. This is a replacement and upgrade of our existing compute environment for all the systems that support everything that we do here in the county, along with several of the constitutional offices. So it's all the computer equipment that's over at the Public Safety Complex and also at the data center at the Sheriff's Office. So it's a large number of servers. This supports all the different applications from the Justice Information System, the Jail Management System, our email system, our file system, all the applications that the different departments use and such. So it's just a new environment.
That word environment means like a physical system?
Yes, So it's a number of servers, it's a number of equipment where all the data is stored, and along with the backup systems and such. So it's all of that. And we're basically at the end of a 5-year term with our existing equipment, and so it's this is something that's planned for a refresh, and it was planned, budgeted, and expected for us to go through.
Now, this is a 5-year contract. Is that abnormal? Because in computer world, it'll be a new phone out by Christmas, and then by Valentine's it'll be a new phone out. I mean, is 5 years a lock-in that's too extensive?
That's a typical time frame, is a 5-year refreshment. Because of the technology changes and such, and we will be taking advantage of new technologies. Again, all this type of equipment is shrinking, and to not get too technical about it, we will be incorporating some new technologies that will provide us more functionality and growth. This particular solution also, we really believe is going to last us longer than 5 years, to where we can add on as we need to grow. And
CDW seemed to have scored higher than Mainline, but some points were added to the scoring after they submitted. Could you just tell us just a little bit about the 2 points that were added for each of in which the second place company came out on top?
well, what we were looking at is the original scores were based on the paper, the actual responses that came from the RFP. And we knew up front that if we found the desire to have interviews with the 2 top highest ones, that we would go there if we couldn't find an absolute choice in the very beginning. And so CDW and Mainline were both the top scoring items, and so we had them come back and give us more details on the approach, more details on how they would handle the solution. We were looking for also licensing of our existing software, the project management, and how they could scale their solutions so that when we needed to grow, how much more equipment had to be bought in the future and what those costs were. And so we found the solution that Mainline was proposing was more suitable for the scalability. We felt their project management was stronger, and their approach was better, and their licensing for our existing software was less.
In terms of a breach of information, are are they liable? And I couldn't discern from here who takes the loss in case that Russia breaks into the sheriff's database. Leon
no.
County or is Mainline our?
No, it wouldn't be applicable to that,
It wouldn't?
a breach. They're providing hardware and software, not the security
Okay.
aspect. Security is another layer.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know this isn't an easy task. Thank you, Pat, and Ms. County Administrator, all of you who've worked on this. I guess one general comment, just thinking through it as I read the item, we hear a lot about needing to maintain our infrastructure. I think we do a pretty good job locally. That's not just the physical, it's also the IT. I think this is how we keep efficiency going. So I really appreciate all of you, your team, Mr. County Administrator, for keeping an eye on the new technology and the functionality. So thank you for that. I seem to remember in our budget discussion, there was also a conversation about upgrading the operating system, going to a new email system using Outlook. Will this upgrade enable us to do that? And I guess a related question is this going to improve the communications if we need improvement? I'm not sure we do between Sheriff's Department and county or all the other departments. Is there any kind of improvements in that area that we could see?
The improvements are more what I call under the hood.
Okay.
And so what it allows is it minimizes the complexity between the networking world and the systems world and the application world. And again, that's all under the hood. It's using hyper-converged technology. It makes everything smaller and less components, so that's less complex. That's one good thing. The other part of it is the integration of the storage, so it's not two separate things, it's together. So from a technical standpoint, there's a huge amount of improvements and such. There's also some cost savings because that was, an expectation that things would cost a lot more, but with this hyper-converged, we were able to get quite a bit more for our budget dollars. As far as you were mentioning the email system and such, that's a separate type project. This is the hardware aspect of it, and we are still planning to do the email migration in the next budget process, but this is just mainly the hardware.
Thank you very much. I thought this was the hardware component. I wasn't sure if this was the first step before we get into any other changes like that. So, but I know this is a really big project for you. So
Yes.
Yes, one step at a time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I have no other commissioners in queue to speak.
I'll make a motion for option 1, please.
Commissioner Dozier properly moves option number 1, seconded by Commissioner Lindley. Seeing no other commissioners in queue to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, passes 6-0. Thank you. Mr. Attorney, item number 14.
Mr. Chairman, item number 14 is a request to direct the staff to file a comprehensive plan amendment. So this is not the amendment itself, and you're not approving the amendment tonight, but which would insert language in the intergovernmental coordination element of the comprehensive plan to more precisely set forth how the voting is done for land use map amendments and government-specific text amendments. And I'd be glad to walk you through how we did that in February, but essentially this would codify it in the comprehensive plan that you don't have to vote for city map amendments, and similarly, the City Commission does not need to vote for unincorporated area-only map amendments. So and the staff recommends that you go forward with putting it into the comprehensive plan cycle.
Thank you. Mr. Administrator, do we have any speakers on this?
We do. We have 2 speaker cards. The first is Jeff Blair.
Mr. Blair, it's good to see you. Your name and address for the record, and if you could keep your comments to around 3 minutes, that'd be great.
I'll keep them very short. My name is Jeff Blair. I reside at 9143 Stargate Way in the rural area of Leon County. I only just today saw this, so I would like to say that I haven't had a chance to completely evaluate it, but my initial reaction is I really do support when the city and county work together collaboratively on issues. I feel like we have one single community, and our city and our county are not two separate places. So my concern, I think, is I understand how it might make the process easier, but I do believe that decisions on governance and growth management should be made countywide in general, because I think they impact all of our citizens in the county. So my recommendation would be to perhaps table this item and to convene some sort of citizen input process that will allow our citizens of Leon County, including Tallahassee, to weigh in and provide input in terms of what they would like to see, how this governance structure for the comp plan would be made. So I would respectfully request further evaluation of this to ensure that the consequences are actually as intended and we don't unnecessarily bifurcate agreement between the city and county. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Administrator.
Our next speaker is Pamela Hall.
Dr. Hall, it's great to see you. Name and address for the record, and try
Hello.
to keep your comments around 3 minutes.
Yep, I'm Pamela Hall, and I live at 5051 Quail Valley Road. I live in the unincorporated area. I find this amendment very disturbing. I mean, I know that for decades there has been tension between the city and the county over anything, including land use. I know that probably technically, legally, we don't have a joint comp plan, as I believe your attorney has said, it just shares the same binder. But it is a comprehensive plan. What happens in the city affects me. Frankly, my entire property value is based on the city. I don't know where Leon County would be without the two universities, TCC, and the seat of government. But I enjoy living in the county, not because it's the unincorporated area, but because I live in a semi-rural area. That's what I like. I'm concerned that by saying you're only going to vote on land use decisions in the unincorporated area, that 2/3 of your constituents you are abandoning, you're abdicating to them. Now, I understand that the city commissioners may have more knowledge on any specific issue in the city and you in the unincorporated area, and I think that's why you have historically often deferred to each other. But you're elected by everyone. How can you say, pick and choose through the things and say, well, we're not going to bother to take responsibility for that, especially when they get controversial? So at the very least, you guys should be voting on everything, and you could argue that the city should only vote on their stuff. Except that there are not boundaries when I drive into town. My water flows downstream. My land use affects my neighbors in town. And big properties, when they change, they affect all of us, no matter where they're located. This to me is this is an abdication of your responsibilities, your full-time employees. Please represent all of us, do the hard work. And I would point out to you that the best things this community does are the things both commissions do together. You work hard, you fight each other, different personalities. I've been here for 25 years, I've watched it. But you really, the good stuff is done in consensus. And I know at the moment they have a lot of mud on their face. I've seen mud on your face too. Just bear with the personalities. Don't think that somehow we don't want you playing on our side of the sandbox, we won't play on your side. I live in the entire sandbox, and I vote, especially for my two at large. So guys, I don't know what you're doing here, but you're county commissioners, and the city matters to everyone too. Please don't abdicate responsibilities. Just take it as it comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. I've got Commissioner Proctor, Commissioner Dozier, and Commissioner Lindley. Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Hall, and thank you very much, Mr. Blair, for your comments. One of you said that we should table this and slow it down. The other said that we should not segregate our policy making. And I agree with you, Dr. Hall, that the county could probably handle our business and do very well without the city. But I can't see how the city could do very well without the county. So I get that. And the reason that I won't support this measure is because, as the Commissioner of District 1, the majority of the people who vote for me and measures which, as a county commissioner, that may impact that the city does, from Springfield, Frenchtown, Central City, Bond, South City, Gaither, Woodville, I need to have a vote on. I feel that way. And while practically we have tended to defer the city, typically whatever the county decides in the county, we've had that. But we've not had a hard and fast delineation that segregates our actual voting strength on something called comprehensive. And so to that extent that the majority of the people that vote for me, it affects the urban. Now, I'm not really, not in the county. Commissioner Maddox and Lindley really may have a different take, but the limits of who hired me, for those who hire me to represent them, I feel that I would be mutating my service and voice on measures which the city might take. So I'm a little cautious about this, and I know that we have some other splits with the CRA, and this is flowing in that direction with the CRA. That is restricted and limited to the city proper anyway. It does not bleed into the county. The comprehensive plan encompasses all areas, and so it seems as if we're limiting ourselves. I wanted to also take note that if perchance we were reviewing the rural element, how would this impact us reviewing the one house per 10 acres? And may I ask the county attorney that based upon the language that I've read here, would that mean that if we were able to expand the urban services area, that we would be on bended knee having to beg the city for them to extend the urban services area to an area of the county which we may deem and be desirous of changing its zoning and extending the urban service, but we would be left on our bended knees, unable to have a vote on that. Am I wrong about that?
You're not wrong.
Okay. I think, commissioners, that we cannot throw away and abdicate what we have now if we wanted to extend services and wait for the city alone to, at their whim and caprice, to share when they wanted to extend their lines. I ain't willing to go there. I think that we should, and I think also that on the area, and I asked the county administrator with regard to the comprehensive plan, what kind of steps would you recommend that we could do to take a look at, and the reason I'm all antsy up about that is that item 15, which has been withdrawn for the night. And I looked at that, and the rural is the conversation piece. And captured in those notes is that we still have on the books one house per 10 acres. And I'm still pondering the future of Tallahassee, our growth, urban services, all of that. How can we take a positive look toward modifying what we now have on as a rural category and density?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Proctor, yes, I understand your question. Obviously, it's the board's prerogative, and any time you wanted to direct staff to bring back an analysis of the expansion of the USA or greater densities in the rural category, of course, that would require significant changes to the comprehensive plan, but it's always the board's prerogative to provide that direction to us and to have us bring back analysis. I'll just remind the board that we're in the process of some pretty significant comprehensive plan reform. If you did have a desire to do that, if there was a time to provide that direction to us, you could argue that it would be now, so that these things weren't done in a piecemeal fashion, but done while we sort of have the hood open looking at the comprehensive plan. The timing of that, as the board knows, we're out in the community now doing the community values section, and we'll be actually bringing the board an update in December on our comprehensive plan reform efforts. Again, if the board so chose to give us the direction, we could bring you back an analysis in the December update, but we would like that specific direction from the board. Thank you.
Okay, I'm curious about that, and maybe I'll defer and listen to other commissioners, but I'm certainly curious about an analysis in that regard, in particular for opening new affordable areas of land in the south end of the community. Commissioners, do we really want to have zero voice in the expansion of the urban service area line? And if the city had sole power in this regard, would we have a no vote if they decide that we're just going to march on and move on down to Monticello and take the line down to Monticello? Would we have a defensive voice in this?
It requires both of the bodies to vote to change the urban services boundary.
Okay, so will we be giving that up?
No, not with this proposal, no.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Sherman.
Commissioner Dozier, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good points. Thank you, Pam and Jeff. So last year we had two issues come up that filled the chambers. They were from Myers Park and Clarn, and this, I believe, is where this question came up because, and I think it is a valid point that I had constituents from Myers Park wanting to know my opinion on it, wanting me to weigh in. I'm sure you all heard from others as well. Perhaps Commissioner Lindley and Maddox heard a little bit more than some of the others because the three of us are elected by that neighborhood. And while they understood somewhat that this was a city issue and we didn't have a vote, frankly, they really wanted us to be able to weigh in. So I think that that is a persuasive argument, and there we go. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So in reading this item, I have a question, Mr. County Attorney. This was a difference of opinion on the voting, I believe, wanting to clarify that, wanting to have something very specific so that we knew what to tell constituents when they asked us. And the way you describe this is that it would be based on or be consistent with state statute. So I guess my question is this: do we even have an option to go in the direction that has been suggested where, and I think it is a good argument, like I said, the county covers the city as well. So we are elected by all of those, and I'll just add, if we want to keep the rural area less dense, with not as high a density, then we are reliant upon increased density, and we're doing a lot of work right now, the land use component, other things like that, to improve the way we look at infill and other things like that. So it does affect what the county does. So I'm just wondering what our options are on this if you reference state statute in this item.
Well, let me start out by saying, in my opinion, this is no change since July of 1990. This is just a recognition of what the fact is. My example would be, while you could vote jointly at a joint city-county commission meeting, if a land use application came in and it was only in the unincorporated area, would the city be able to vote 5-0 and block it? And my answer to that is no. They don't have extra jurisdictional authority. And I believe the city commission would take the same position, even though they're within the county, and I understand that. But land use authority is within the city. Certainly their zoning code only applies within the city. And I'm not sure that the city commission can take the reverse angle and say, well, yeah, you can vote 7-0 to not allow a land use map change in this city, but we outvote you 5-7. And so I would suggest that you still continue to do things collaboratively, that you still do the joint meetings, but this was really just a recognition that neither side had veto authority over the other. And that's really what this tries to say, that you have your own destiny in your own jurisdiction.
So if it's no change since 1990, there isn't any other option. This is what the statute requires. We can only vote on those amendments that affect either the unincorporated area for us or the incorporated area for the city.
The planners are not going to like what I'm about to say because they like specificity, but I think it would be best if no language was put in the comprehensive plan and just let it proceed as it has for the last 27 years. You do need to remove the one technical glitch that's in our comp plan, which I think you can ignore, but it says that we're limited to 2 cycles per year. That's no longer a limitation under Chapter 163. So striking that, but my personal feeling is having no language about this in the comp plan just leaves it for when we face those sorts of questions along the way.
Okay.
So that's another option, which is do nothing.
Do not strike the language about the voting, but keep the language about 2 cycles.
No, the other way around.
Other way around. Okay, thank you. Right, I meant from the agenda item, not from the comp. Yeah, change the 2 cycles in the comp plan. Okay, so I would just add here, I got the sense from the item that while I absolutely agree that a joint conversation is necessary, and County Administrator and I talked about, and I was very happy to see no reference to separating our joint meeting. I think that came up from a couple of folks last year. I would very strongly oppose that. I think the joint meeting is necessary, and even if we can't vote on different items or we have never been able to, that conversation is very helpful. And it allows me to make a comment, for example, on Myers Park issues, even if I can't take a vote on those issues. Just to use that example from last year. So I would like to hear from others. I'd be willing to, just get rid of the language, do what we've been doing. But I would also add in, Ms. County Administrator, that I've had a question brewing. We're now coming in on 3 years that we've been looking at the land use, and this is a big change or review and perhaps revision of the land use component. We only have 12 years left in this comp plan. And if it took us 3 years to get to this place, looking forward and looking at a way that we could integrate this better into one unified comp plan, I don't even know if that's possible. I don't know what those questions might be, but I think some good points are raised. And if we can't do it right now, perhaps as we get into that process, which could be lengthy, those are questions that I think I, for one, would be very interested in exploring. So I'll wait for the others, Mr. Chair, before making a motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Lindley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very concerned about adding this language in on voting for several reasons that you all have articulated. I think Commissioner Maddox and I particularly hear this a lot, that we do feel we represent the whole community. Every citizen who lives in the city can vote on the 2 at-large county commissioners. And even if we have been voting, we have all been voting on lots of these issues over the years, little knowing that some of our votes were just irrelevant if it wasn't really our arena. They were ceremonial. So they weren't irrelevant in that, I actually felt a little sheepish about bowing out of the Killearn Golf Club issue, that we didn't have to vote on it because it was within the city. It was easier. You were able to say, okay, for the 400 emails that we received, we could say, well, that is the city's issue. But our responsibilities are larger than that, and the discussions we have are significant. I sometimes learn from the city commissioners. Their point of view is important, and I hope that they would sometimes hear from us, particularly the district commissioners. Just as Commissioner Dozier said, you knew the Myers Park area. That's where you live and breathe and are elected over and over. So if we can, also I just think the third issue possibly is just this sense of the community. Right now, people are talking about consolidation, yes or no, do we or don't we, is it a good idea or a bad one? This definitely walks us away from that feeling of harmony between the two boards. So for me, I think I would really, I guess a third option would be to somehow strike the language regarding the voting. If that's if that's the will of the board, I would recommend or make a motion for, I guess what we would call option 3.
There is a motion on the table for a newly created option 3, which is to strike the language. Is there a second to the motion on the table?
Which one is the motion?
Would you restate your motion, Commissioner Lindley?
Would be, I guess it would be to keep option 1, but the piece of it that we would strike is the part about the language about voting, that one board wouldn't vote on the other when the issue is within, just strictly within.
So Herb's motion is what?
So not adopting that into the comp plan, but getting rid of the 2 cycle-a-year limitation?
Yeah,
Second that.
keeping.
I'll second that.
All right, been seconded by Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Lindley, any other comments?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Proctor, I got you in queue.
Thank you. I was just thinking that if a comprehensive plan had proposals that only dealt within the incorporated area, wouldn't we be excused and wouldn't have to go to that meeting, Herb?
In my opinion, yeah, you do not.
Okay.
And there are those provisions. I mean, the affordable housing element in the comp plan is very different in the city than it is in the unincorporated area.
Right. Sometimes authority, influence, whatever those things are, sometimes it's nuanced. It's not specific. It's not specifically declared, stated. It's just nuanced. And before I knew that I would not be voting or it wouldn't matter what I've had to say at a comp meeting, we have sort of freely commented on whether county comp plan amendment or a city. We have freely commented on each other's amendments. I probably wouldn't say anything about the city's process at their meeting with a specifically drawn line that tells me that my vote, it just doesn't count. And probably we would not have the collegial, intellectual exchanges and observations from the point of view of the city and where they're going, what they're doing. I'm thinking about, for instance, when the city tried to extend sewer between Crawfordville and Woodville Highway, and that back and forth. Well, had that really just been left to be a city decision, what the county had to say, we might as well shut up and be quiet, and left that to the city. And I'm not sure that sometimes when we take a position that differs from the city, there have been times when it didn't matter. But at least as long as there was nothing written to specific, it gave us the freedom to comment on each other's. And I think that what your motion does, Commissioner Lindley, the nuancing of the right to comment without that demarcation that you ain't got no juice to vote on it, keeps that intellectual flow going. So from that angle, I think it's a good motion.
Commissioner Maddox, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for reference, I actually made the motion last year that that basically ended our portion of the comp plan and gave the city the authority to go ahead and deal with theirs with the amendments that they had on the table. I don't mind sitting in the room and us taking the ceremonial votes, but my problem is just that they're ceremonial. Dr. Hall, you made an excellent point in that the city is in the county, but we have unincorporated areas that we have to govern over that are outside of city limits. And so for me particular and my at-large better half, I believe that all of our votes are not ceremonial. They should be more than just ceremonial. They should hold some relevance in policy making and planning for our community. I'm sure that the city will argue differently, but Commissioner Dozier, you're right. He probably got 400 or 500 emails, as did Commissioner Lindley and myself, specifically about that issue, and to tell me that though I could voice my opinion, that those votes on that issue will simply be just ceremony, and the city would be able to do whatever the city wants to do on them. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But hey, I think for the purposes of our voices being heard, I hear what you guys are saying here, and I can go along with us sitting in those meetings and taking those ceremonial votes, which I don't like, but okay. But at least taking those ceremonial votes and having our voices be heard in that way. But to me, ceremonial, when you have to govern over the whole county, just to me, it doesn't sound right. My constituents vote me in countywide, and especially when it comes to what goes where and how their land uses are being selected within this county. I believe they want me to have more of a say than just simply that of ceremonial. So that was my grievance last year. It's my grievance today, but I'm willing to go along with the motion on the floor to say that we do sit in that place of making that ceremonial vote. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we have a short agenda today, so I hope you'll forgive a little bit more conversation. I know this will come back up in December and many times after. The comments you all have made, and Commissioner Maddox, I think you're right on points, and I respected your decision last year to make that motion, although I think those of us who, Commissioner Deloge and myself stayed in the chamber, some of us stayed in the chambers for a little while. So just two thoughts to add in here, if we can have this as part of the discussion, whether it's in December on land use or in the future when we look at the larger comp plan, what we're going to do in the future about a new comp plan. I think that regardless of where those conversations go that you mentioned, Commissioner Lindley, about consolidation or anything else, this community, I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship. There is no line between the city and county. And in the rural area, been having conversations with people recently, I would love to see more language about what we can, I know it's in the comp plan, but what we can do, what people can do based on Keep It Rural and others in the rural area, and not just have a perception out there that we're always saying what you can't do. There are a lot of opportunities for agriculture, other things like that, business in the rural area, and Keep It Rural really helped us clarify that. So I think in the future we do want to look for more ways to come together, and I would just suggest, Mr. County Administrator, that one of the things that's really stood out to me, and I will reference again Myers Park, is that we have a joint planning department. They get direction from the staff and commissioners on, from the city and county, and that direction may be different. Commissioner Miller has raised this at a few meetings that we need to share that information. If the city directs planning department to do more, we should, because it may come up at CRA or Blueprint or something else, and those are things that we do jointly, so we should all be included in that. I believe that the effort to have our planning department draw a concept for the Myers Park area, there was a perception that was a city choice that led to the emails and the concerns in the neighborhood. And so it may have seemed at that point that this is a city choice, so it's easier or it's logical for us to not be at the table. This was their choice, it was their property, but it still affects our constituents. So I'm not sure I'm really driving at any solution here, but I think that is a question we should look at, maybe lessons learned, let's say maybe an after-action report on some things like that, and say how could we have gotten into that a little bit different and gotten engaged with the community a little bit different, because it does come back to both commissions regardless of whether or not it's in the city limits or not. So I think we could do better. It's the best intention from our wonderful planning department for sure, but I would love to see some work by both boards to work better on these subjects in the future, regardless of the voting. Thank you.
Commissioner Proctor.
I think our microphones are turned down low. But I think Commissioner Dozier hits a significant point for me. And, amazingly, she mentions that the city, I guess, has self-initiated a planning for Myers Park, last year in her district. And that's a self-initiated thing. And across the street, on the south side of Magnolia Drive, Ms. Chairman, I have tried to get the city to initiate a planning or something for South City, and I honestly can't get the city to look across the street, Mason-Dixie line. And, from my perspective, even though most of my district is in District 1, is in the city, but District 1 happens to be that part of this community that the city has shown the least initiative in addressing. So to be cut off from a conversation at the comprehensive plan table is the one place where, at least as District 1 Commissioner, you get a chance to say some things to the city commissions and to dialogue with them. But some areas in which the city serves, it really is on automatic pilot. You don't have to coax the city. You don't have to hold a press conference to get a sidewalk. You don't have to send a letter. You don't have to beg and plead. The city takes care of it. Really does. Great job. They're capable. In other areas, you have to beg and hold press conferences and write letters and plead, and all like that. I just happen to be, my experience is a little different, and I just happen to be in the commissioner of that area in the city, which is and continues to be neglected, forgotten, and that's why I need my voice at that table. Thank you.
This motion on the table that was made by Commissioner Lindley. Commissioner Lindley, will you restate your motion for the record, please?
Well, really, the only part is to strike the language regarding the voting. So that remains just quiet, right, in the document, not pursue it.
Seconded by Commissioner Proctor. Seeing no other commissioners in queue to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes 6-0. Mr. Administrator, do we have any other general business coming before us today?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that concludes your general business items.
Excellent. I would like to move on to comment discussion items. Mr. Attorney.
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got nothing.
Commissioner Proctor.
I don't think I failed in previous meetings to introduce Mr. Darius O'Neill. Darius, if you would stand. My intern for this semester. You've seen him here at our meetings. Darius is from West Palm Beach and is a student at Florida A&M University and has been with me doing a great job for this semester. And Darius, we're glad to see you. I not recognized you previously, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knew Darius O'Neill. He's a very good student. Can take over your classroom and just take it from you, get in arguments and just mess up stuff. Thank you, Darius. Appreciate you. It was a great student. Commissioners, I had some notes and I didn't bring them to the fore with me, but I did note on the board that on the 27th that is going to be a presentation at the public library with respect to what is it? Yeah, the revision of our county constitution. And I was just wondering, will we get an overview? And I've sat through one of those things before, but I ain't fresh And while I saw one for the public, I wanted to request if we, maybe our next meeting, could get some kind of sketch or outline of what is expected. So if we were asked, if we know the dates, something like that. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We don't have any unagenda item, or unagenda speakers, right? Speakers, okay, thank you. Expected one speaker to come in. We're moving a little bit quickly, so I'm going to raise his issue for him. Mr. Joe Berg with Shop Local 850. You may know Joe from his efforts in the All Saint Gaines Street area. He made a presentation to the city last week and was going to come in and do the same briefly with us today. They would like county participation in the Shop Local holiday weekend. This would either be the first or second weekend of December. And the ask was to work with our community media relations to promote the event, to have some commitment to encouraging people to shop local. And he also has a pretty robust presentation. I'm impressed on the data collection and some examples about the impact of shopping local. Not just the return on that investment with businesses and jobs, but also that local businesses donate to events and other things like that. So if it was of interest to you all, and I'm sorry that Joe's going to miss this, I would like to make a motion to hear a short presentation from him at our meeting on the 28th, but also direct our county staff to work with him to see how we might support this initiative with the Shop Local holiday weekend.
Commissioner Dozier has properly made a motion, seconded by Commissioner Lindley. Seeing no commissioners queued to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Commissioner
Thank you.
Dozier.
The only other comment I have, Mr. Chair, is that first time ever I missed our Veterans Day breakfast, but I have been hearing all week that it was wonderful, so thank you all, and it was very fun to ride the float with you. And LaShawn and many others, so thank you for that. Another great effort in Veterans Day weekend, and Startup Week is in full swing. OEV has done a great job partnering with a lot of community organizations. This is the most robust calendar of events that I've seen for Entrepreneur Week, and we're going to have the 5-year update as directed by the board this summer. Commissioner Maddox had brought this up. Our stakeholders forum that we had 5 years ago that generated ideas for E-Month, for DOMI Station, for others. We will have that, I believe, on the 29th, and you'll start seeing invitations go out for that. So I really appreciate Ken Morris and OEV staff for putting together a great series of events this week, and they're open to everyone, so I hope others engage. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Lindley.
Oh, thank you. A couple of things. I just wondered how many times before Teresa Hiker has served so many eggs and so much sausage, because she was there at the Veterans Breakfast like nonstop the whole time. I don't think she ever, I don't even know if she got a breather at all, but it was a great event, just wonderful. And Chairman Daley, you did a masterful job. I thought it was, thank you for emceeing all. Also, I wanted to just take a minute to salute the county employees who were working that day, who were vets and who didn't get to come to the breakfast because they were otherwise doing the work of their regular jobs. So I want to salute them. Another thing, last week I was at the Department of Transportation building where there was a statewide program on wildflowers and the maintenance and how keeping the roadsides mowed only to a certain extent and letting wildflowers take over the rest saves so much time and money in maintaining the highways and state roads. And we paid a tribute to one of our Tallahassee citizens, Eleanor Dietrich, who's very involved in wildflowers, education, getting local governments involved in the same maintenance plan, and I know that Leon County adheres to that too. But the real oohs and ahs came when I was able to announce that at our Appalachia Regional Park, we're going to be planting a 30-acre wildflower field. And thanks to Maggie Terrio for bringing up some of that information. So that went over very well because there were a lot of counties and representatives from the state who thought that was just spectacular. So I want to appreciate that. I feel like I'm Miss Botanical today, but I am your representative on the Canopy Roads Committee. And we're going to be having a meeting tomorrow night, if any of the community wants to attend to it. But one of the things the new committee is really interested in doing is getting the community to know more about the Canopy Roads, what a part of our community they are, how they're affected our tourism, our history, all sorts of advantages that we have by having these Canopy Roads protected in our county. We know that the state legislature is now contemplating both a Senate and a companion House bill that would limit local governments' control regarding trees in any way. The maintenance, our Canopy Roads are definitely in jeopardy under these pieces of legislation. Protection, the zoning, and just any number of things that both the city and the county are involved in regarding trees and landscaping. So one of the things that I think the committee will talk about tomorrow night is trying to get more marketing, more information, more knowledge to the greater community about our Canopy Roads. And one person has suggested we might have a citizen engagement series that would just get into that whole world, which I think a lot of us really value and admire, but some people who are new here don't know too much about. So I would just like to throw that out as possible citizen engagement series consideration. I think we'll probably talk about that at our retreat. So I'm not making that a motion, but just something to talk about later if we could. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chair, just wanted to thank you for the job that you're doing, leading us through the process. Want to thank Dr. Hall for coming and making her comments today. Today is is a true indication of the fact that we do, at least I do this. I haven't had an opportunity to meet with you about this issue, but it was good to hear your input on it and take it into consideration. Wanted to give a shout out to my girls who had great grades on their report cards. Yeah, I gotta do that. And my wonderful wife for all the work she does with them. And give a shout out to all of her girls, part of Maddox Youth Dance Company, for their performance this weekend. They had a performance.
Judge Francis that the courthouse annex on Thomasville Road be renamed after Judge Francis, seeing how he was chief judge who was instrumental in turning that facility into a courtroom. And I told Judge Selstrom it would be my honor and privilege to bring this before the county commission for consideration. And so what I would like to do is entertain a motion to have an agenda item be brought back to us to take on the full consideration of naming the courthouse annex on Thomasville Road after Judge Charlie Francis, who will be retiring. Properly moved by the vice chairman, seconded by the chair. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, passes 6-0. That is all I have. Yes, Mr. Vice Chairman.
You know what? Yesterday, I had the opportunity to attend a forum that was held about crime at Bethel Life Center. And there were a lot of leaders in that room. And I just wanted to give the commission just a report that there are a lot of people, a lot of citizens that are concerned, but there are a lot of citizens that are putting actions behind their concerns. It was comforting to me to see so many people intently ready to participate in being a solution. And so we are not, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again, to those who may be listening, that's watching this broadcast, is that we are not the only, we don't hold the solution. This is a community thing that we have to work together to try to conquer. But what gave me comfort is that yesterday there were so many people there that were ready to get involved and ready to do the right thing and ready to come together as a community to really deal with the crime issue that we have. And so I just want to give a report about that, Mr. Chair.
Point well taken. Commissioner Dozier.
Mr. Chair, thank you for just a moment, since I know we're running a little early here. Commissioner Maddox just reminded me of an item that I was going to bring up tonight and forgot. I'm hearing the same. Thank you for attending that meeting. The Continuum of Care for Homelessness covers 8 counties. I've served as the board's rep for the last 3 years. Made a tremendous amount of progress in the last year to move the organization. It will be a 501c3. It has a new director. This is the organization that is required if we're going to get any money from the federal government or state for CCYS, for the shelter, for Big Bend Homeless Coalition, Ability First, many others. So it is an exciting time, and I wanted to make the board aware that my term is up at the end of December. I am hoping that someone else on our board would like to take that seat, but we also just this week are going to recommend changes so that there will be a commissioner appointee and a senior staff appointee, so that it would free the commissioner up not to serve on as many committees and things like that. It'll change the structure a little bit. So I wanted to go ahead and let you all know, if you have any interest, the staff at the COC would be very interested in talking with anyone, and I know this will come back in December agenda. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, would you recommend us, well, you said your appointment would be in December. Would you recommend us waiting to make a decision until after the board composition is completed?
Well, no, sir.
You said there would be a commissioner and a staff member?
It's
Commissioner
charter
Orr.
changes.
Okay.
So the charter change that will be presented to the board on the 29th will be to change from just a commissioner appointed by the Leon County Commission in the city of Tallahassee to a commissioner and a senior staff member who can serve as an alternate. I think this is just part of our regular board appointments that will come up in December. I just wanted to make you all aware, since it's a relatively new board, and if anyone was interested, this would be the time to start looking at it. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. We have a public hearing scheduled at 6 o'clock. We stand adjourned.